So Akshit, let's start by uh, let's start with the proposition. What are you building? Uh, what does it do? What is the product? What is the offering? If you can talk about that.
Surely, Amit. So, with Peerup, we are building a platform where young Indian adults can improve their spoken English using AI and a community, supportive community. And the idea of Peerup has come from one simple insight is that basically the biggest hurdle uh, in learning to speak English is an access to environment where I can practice freely. This was true 8 years back when I was trying to improve my English at college for my interviews. Uh, and it's still true. After talking to a lot of people, we realized this problem is not yet solved. So with PeerUp, we are solving this problem by providing a community, by providing an environment where user can practice English with the community members in a game-like environment for free. And we sell upgrades like feedback and personalized exercises and a lot more things if they want to enhance their experience.
Got it. Very interesting. So, but why are you building this? You could have the skills that you have. You could have built a different product in a different category. So why did you decide to build exactly what you're building? Why are you building this and not something else?
Right. So from my school time, I have huge passion for teaching and education in general, and that's one of the core reasons. After spending 5.5 years in content industry, I switched to Vedantu, then front row, to gain the experience of education industry. Uh, so education is something that has always been close to me, and as I mentioned, spoken English is something uh, that I faced problem myself in college, right? So like I couldn't have spoken one single sentence if you have met me in college in English, and because of that, I faced multiple rejections in my interviews before getting selected at in shorts, where I just gave interview in English, right? And I realized that the role that I was selecting for is basically in the business where I have to speak a lot. So I dedicated those 8 to 9 months learning English. So I faced problem then also. There were no good solutions. I use a lot of platforms like italki and all where I can find the environment, but the struggle was real and the flows were not that good. But somehow I managed to do that, and then in during my time at InShots also, I practiced a lot of English because the kind of phrases or the kind of words that you require in your professional communication skill or when you are dealing with business development is different, and I had to learn those. So having personal experience of facing through this journey and having a passion for edtech or education in general uh, made me realize that this is something that I need to solve.
So Akshit, I understand why you're building this. But an important question for us is why are you the right person to build this? What makes you special or most suited to build a product of this type?
Understood. So having spent last few years at edtech, I've realized uh, the biggest problem that edtech has, of course, CAC, and that is majorly due to it's a sale-driven company. It's not a product-driven companies that have built in last few years. So my experience with Glance and InShort, where I've spent a huge amount of time building product-first, engaging companies from grounds up, uh, that can help reduce the CAC. That is a major part, and provide the best experience. As well as my recent experience with the Gen AI, where we built AI anchors with Just Bath, we can replace those operational inefficiencies by replacing humans in the system with the Gen AI, be it the moderator, be it the mentor, or be it someone who's looking at the operations part. So having experienced all those different verticals, what is needed to create an amazing edtech product and the next gen edtech product is something that I believe that I've gained over last few years, making it perfect to start this product.
Got it. So in a way, what you're doing is you're trying to apply the skills that you have learned across different companies you have worked at in trying to solve this problem, which to your mind is still not solved. So I do understand the AI part of it, which gets used in feedback. I also understand the product first approach uh, because a lot of problems in EdTech was around CAC, and that was because it was sales first rather than product first. How do you kind of can you double click on the other part which you mentioned? Like how does engagement get solved in this category? Because at some level, learning is work, and people don't want to do much of work. So, is there something that you've learned in your content when you're working with content companies like InShots and Glance? that kind of helps you in improving the engagement and thereby improving the outcome in these kind of situations.
Right. So, of course, you need to gain a lot of insights and information to create a amazing product, right? That generally at start that generally comes from talking to users, but the best experiences that has been created are using the feedback loop from users. So the thing that I've learned at glance, majorly by working 3.5 years from 0 to 1, is basically the iteration cycle. You have to experiment fast. You have to seek the truth, right? That's when only you can create an amazing experience. So the speed of experimentation and the extent of which the founder and the founding team want to seek the truth is the only way to create a highly engaging product with the mindset of solving everything at start with tech rather than with humans or easy path that is with money basically.
So actually, I understood how you're using AI. I also understood the product first approach versus the sales first approach. What I'm not sure of is how you ensuring that this is an engaging product. I mean, the intent is to be engaging, but learning we know is the motivation always drop. So, what is it that you're doing or that you have learned in your past experience, which is helping you solve this problem? Because it's very central to a tech that people don't want to kind of the completion rates are poor, the engagement rates are poor. So, yes, you have worked in content space and where engagement is the central part, but how are you applying that into this situation?
Understood. So the key component of creating a highly engaging product is basically how fast are you able to seek the truth from the users, right? uh, it can be from the user research call, but that is not generally true. And for that, what we have learned is best is basically to run experiment at a very high rate that gives you new information about the users, and that actually enables to create a very highly engaging product. These product can be created only by perfecting each and every part of the flow, right? That is not one single part that you need to perfect out to create these engaging products, right? There are a lot of small nuts and bolts that you need to fix, and that can only come to you when you know what is working, what is not working. So basically the intent of the founding team to seek the truth, as well as building the organization such a way that you are doing a lot of experimentation to get out this information from the users in the most effective manner.
So, can you explain an experiment? Kind of what are these experiments? What do you mean by when you say seek the truth? What exactly? An example will help us, understand it better.
Right. So given my last year and last few years in Gen AI, I was more biased toward let's solve everything with Gen AI, right? Like why do we need humans at all? That's why when we started Peerup, the offering was that you can practice English with other AI, and you get the feedback from AI tutor. This flow, and this is working out to be fine. But what we have realized is this might not be the best flow, right? And we might be coming with our own bias, and sometimes it's hard to see, to be honest, right? Because you are puzzled up with a lot of other things also. But at that point of time, we challenged ourselves, saying, "Hey, why are we biased towards AI? Why can't a human provide a better experience, right?" So that's why and to give a human experience just to start with is not an easy problem, right? Because you don't have a network, right? You need to hire a few people who can talk with these people, right? Because you need a good amount of data to prove the results also. So it was a challenge, but we have taken those because we always wanted to seek the truth, whether the AI or the human, which actually provides the best experience. Then, after launching this experiment for a few days, we realized the engagement and retention is almost 2 to 3x when it comes to human as compared to AI. And the things that we have learned in this journey during these experiments is basically when you're talking to someone, right, it's not only about that you are practicing English, you are exchanging a lot of information, you're exchanging a lot of emotions, as well as you're making new friends, right? That might be possible with AI in next few years, but still that's not possible, right? So the engagement rates, right, even the people wanting to coming back is really high when it's come to human as compared to AI. This truth can be seeked only when you have done these kind of experiments, and that is might not be very easy to do sometimes, given the biases that we have.
So, Akshit, this is interesting that kind of you started with an assumption that you are building a product wherein people will practice English by talking to AI, but somewhere the evidence that you got through experimentation was that it is better. The outcome is better when people are talking to other people. Maybe their stories are involved, the real people are involved. Maybe we don't know what future holds as AI improves. But as on date, this seems to be a better solution. Is there anything else that is fundamentally different or that is very different from what your starting product or starting product assumptions were, and in your journey of over the last 6 8 months, that has changed, and you're building something very different from what you started off with?
Right. So fundamentally, we are creating a product that is not of that high price, right? Because we are solving for masses. So our core assumptions, one of the assumption was that since the ticket price is very low, we should build a pay only model where people can come buy our services. Like there'll be a free trial, of course, like that they can do, and if they like it, they can basically become our user by paying, right? And this is a model that seems to have been followed by all the major players in the market. So we start with the same assumption, but over time, what we have realized is the power of your product is generally coming from whether you are able to provide a best partner, that is in terms of interest, English level, and the other verticals, to a person, right? And we ourselves are limiting our product capabilities by putting it under the paywall, right? So ultimately, like same it happens in case of Facebook, Instagram, where your power users are actually your product. Same is true for us, right? And then basically move to a different model. We experimented with it, where we started giving unlimited talk time to the users. That is contrary to all the beliefs or all the products that are out there, because calling is not cheap, right? So like if you are using third party service like Aura and all, you have to pay 6 rupees per hour. So that's why everyone has put it under the paywall. Second is basically because when you start giving unlimited to everyone, it's very hard to do the moderation. So you have to solve these two technical engineering challenges if you go from one route to another. So that's why we started experimenting whether that's a better route or not, right? So with our experiments, it became true, right? The percentage of users who are finding the best partner within 5 seconds has improved significantly, and the percentage of calls for which are greater than 5 minutes has improved significantly after we increase the density of user who are actually searching for partner by just removing the limit. And one more interesting thing that we have learned with this 85 to 90% of our purchases come after 2 days when they install the app. Previously, and of course with a lot of players, they are losing out these 80 85% users, making the cat even higher, right? Because in India, people will only trust you after using the product, and it's not day one, day two, day three. It's basically after using it for a lot of days. And one of the realization is basically people have different motivation to go buy premium or pay for anything at different point of time, right? So let's say if you have given in them a free trial for 1 or 2 days, that might not the perfect time when they buy it, right? So we have seen our conversion increasing like by almost 30 40%, because initially we're pushing users supposed to buy, but now because of this, we are allowing users to try free product. So of course a few portion of conversion has reduced, but the overall conversion has improved by almost like 2 to 3x because of this thing. And that is the fundamental assumption that has been changed. Of course we had to put a lot of energy building these engineering product and the moderation product, but that is worth it.
So just to understand it better, so you're saying the moment you make it free, for certain people, they don't need a paid product because now I can talk and practice for free. So
Yep.
there is that loss of customers that you would have, of paying customer, loss of revenue. That is more than getting offset by the improved conversions, because people are getting feedback. What is it that people are getting uh, by paying? Because if practice was the most important thing, so what is it that people are getting by paying? That is one. And second is, how are you solving for that 6 minutes, 6 rupees an hour, that cost that you were having? How are you affording that free those 3 minutes for everyone?
Right. So if you look at all the upgrades or all the plans that we are selling is around this practice product, right? So basically with premium you get filters. You can apply filter and try get match with the best person. You can get feedback after the conversation. You get practice exercises. You can solve your doubt. But everything is revolved around the practice experience first, right? So if you are not able to provide the best practice experience, it's the other upsells or other add-ons doesn't make sense a lot, right? So the practice is the key component that you need to solve, and for that you need a dense network, right? And to answer the second question, that is basically what engineering challenges that you need to solve, right? There are two major engineering challenges in this. If we move from this free to like a paid to
Unlimited
free
free.
model, one is now you are allowing everyone to have calls for free, right? So you can't be relying on third party, otherwise this model become unsustainable. You have to create your own in-house calling system that is reliable. uh, Second, now, because once there's a paywall, right, that automatically selects the best user in your cohort. But when you open the gate for everyone, and like literally everyone, the moderation becomes a huge challenge as well. And if you try to solve it with humans, that's not possible, right? And when people come on your platform, it gives them a sense it's a platform to learn English, not to just talk, right? So you have to create all those moderation flows where you are detecting that people are speaking English or not, whether someone is misbehaving, having short calls. So all these things you need to solve when you are going from one model that is basically a paid model or a 10-15 minutes free model to unlimited model.
And how do you reduce the cost of 6 minutes, six
Right.
rupees?
So we built this calling in house. It took from scratch, and now this price has reduced to 5 to 6 paisa per hour from 6 rupees per hour. So we have reduced the price by almost 99% by making it in house, the whole calling experience in house.
So, Akshit, how are you able to afford these unlimited free minutes? If it was costing some 6 rupees an hour, so is it still costing you, or what has changed?
So, like everyone, we were using Agora, and they are charging around 6 rupees per hour for audio calls. And as you mentioned, it become unsustainable, right? So we took it on ourselves to build the calling in house, because that is the only way to make sure the cost of audio calling goes down. And as it's not that a easy problem, because companies like Agora has spent years solving this problem, but that is the only route to make this whole business model work. So our engineering team took this, and we are able to create the whole system in house with a few months of course, product development. And it still requires a lot of uh, solving small pain points, because you can't make a product that is basically audio calling that someone has built in, let's say, 1 year, in 1 or 2 months. You still need to solve these small problems every day, right? But that is what actually helps us creating this model. At Agora, it was 6 rupees per hour, what we were paying like everyone else. Now with in-house calling, the cost has gone down from 6 rupees per hour to 6 paisa per hour in our
Okay.
case, which allows us to give it for free to all the users.
So, Akshit, I understand that. So this is interesting that you are offering free unlimited minutes, which nobody else is offering, and that I understand is that gives you some edge. But is there any other way that you are different from other offerings? And some way they have been in the business longer than you. So how are you able to kind of compete with them? You need to have a differentiated product. So how are you different, and on what dimensions are you different?
Right. So one of the learnings that I had while working with Insure's Glance, the highly engaging product, is basically need to solve deeply for one single flow first, then moving to new flows, right? Uh, and that has been one of our learnings also. Initially, we tried to create multiple flows, but instead we push ourselves back that, hey, we should create a single flow that is the most effective and the most engaging one. So we put our focus mostly on this particular flow where user practice spoken English with other peers and get the feedback. Now we have focus on this particular one thing. We have seen a lot of things that we can actually do, and one of that was gamification, right? Because uh, we are competing in social media and games, to be honest, right? So our competition is not other education, it's everything that they have on the phone, right? So until unless this product is engaging enough that it competes with gaming and social media, it's very hard to get the attention. So, like in games, you have a particular goal that you want to achieve, and where you're competing with others also. That gives the games most fun, right? So we included all those elements in our product flow as well, to create a multiplayer game like feeling, where the game is basically they are coming, they're talking to new people, and if they are having a nice conversation, they're getting some points, and there's a leaderboard that shows where they are ranked. So it becomes a complete game where they have a goal to achieve, and we have seen also improvements because of these flows on our product that are more in the range of 20-30% in terms of how much time people are spending. So given our focus on a particular flow, we are able to come up with these insights, or put all of our attention and effort on creating these kind of flows that enables user to have a very amazing experience with this. So game has major two components built containing game. One is gameplay, and the others are gamification loops, basically how they keep you motivated to do the same gameplay, same activity again and again. So in our case, the activity or the gameplay is basically you are matched with a random person, right? Now you have to discuss a topic that we have given or we have prompted, or something you like, because now you share common interest also with them, right? So the games becomes how longer you can have conversation, or whether you can make the other person like you or not, right? And the points are given on the basis. So this is the gameplay, right? Now the pointing system, we give points on the basis of the length of the conversation. If they are able to drive conversation for a longer time, they get much more point, and they also get points when the other person likes them, right? So this is the gameplay. This is the points, and basically they're competing against 20 other people who are at the same league to be at the top. So every time they come, they do the activity, they get the point, they see, hey, where I'm on the leaderboard. So this is the code flow, and of course we are working on a few more flows where I'm competing against you. So let's say if I'm gone to a call, now the game changes. The gameplay is basically I'm competing against you. Let's see who has a better English. Whoever wins gets the point, and now there's a position leaderboard that gets changes. So thinking from this framework, right, allow us to see what are the different mini games that we can create in the same interaction.
Actually, you did talk about it earlier, but can you double down on the CAC LTV thing? That because one of the classic problems with Epic has been that people were not able to solve that. And the completion rates were short, so the LTVs were not high enough, but the CAC was always high. So how are you addressing this? How are you addressing this CAC to LTV ratio
Right.
problem?
So if you look at CAC, there are two things. One is basic, the first time purchase. The second is renewal, right? Renewal depends on whether the product is engaging or not. Uh, where the first time purchase also depending on whether the person who is on your platform trusts you or not, whether they have seen enough flows or not. And our model, that is freemium model, enables these users to develop trust on us, to see what are they missing on continuous basis rather than a single touch point. What are they missing if they're not purchasing the premium? That reduce our CAC by a lot. And of course, given the product is free, right? So it has very great word of mouth, because see, when you're creating a product, it's a product market channel and model fit. It's not just a product market fit when you're creating a product, right? So in our case, when we created this product from new learning that it should be free, the channel that it unlocked for us is basically word of mouth, because word of mouth can only work when you have freemium model, right? Because people want to try that model thing first rather than the sales first approach. So because of this whole perfect fit of all these four different elements, we are able to reduce the CAC. And same with the LTV problem, of course, because we are creating a very highly engaging product. But one of the assumption that is around spoken English is that people just want to learn English. Once they learn it in 6, 5, or like whatever in a year, they'll just stop using it. That's not actually true. And I can say that from my personal experience, where I've spent first 6, 8 months learning the grammar, learning the vocab in general, right? But when I went to the job, that is basically where I had to do conversation with all those business partners, I needed to learn different phrases, vocabulary, and try to prepare myself for those situations, right? So it's not a secret that communication is the most important skill that helps that determines whether you are a successful person or not, right? And learning communication is not only about learning grammar, right? It's about preparing for those situations by learning the phrases and vocabulary that are most suited and how to actually speak. And these situation changes over time, right? When you are in college, your situations are you want to to go on a date, you want to prepare for an interview. When you are on job, depending on what kind of job you have, right?
Yeah.
It changes what kind of phrase and vocabulary you want to learn. When you want to become a manager, there's a different whole set of different vocabulary and phrases and how to basically do conversation arises, right? So learning how to communicate, right, in English is not a 6 months, 1 year phenomena. It's a continuous thing that one needs to learn, only because there are no very highly engaging way of doing it. People are not doing it. But if you create a very highly engaging game like social element where people can learn how to communicate in different types of situation using the best vocabulary and best phrases, it's actually a boon to all the people.